Booze on deck, beer on ice. Laced up clean, yeah, the vibe feels nice. Fuck you, Tony, said we wouldn't fly. Now we running this mile high.
Yo, happy fucking grand final week. Oh, we are back, Shoes and Brews, episode 2, the podcast. Joining me as always is Ash. How you going, buddy?
Good, Scotty. How are you, mate?
Mate, unreal. Again, we technical issues and a massive thank you. But our special guest, Michael Roeger. Rogues, how you doing, buddy?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Good to be here. And I thought grand final week was last week, being an AFL man.
Oh, I've never heard of it. So you might have to fill me in on a bit of what happened. But actually, my old man filled me in. So yeah, pretty crazy finish. Yeah,
it was. Brisbane were too good, and imagine Brisbane getting up this week as well. Jeez.
Yeah, we don't need to go too deep into the NRL results this week. So,
I did have my Arsenal shirt on, but it had a logo that probably wouldn't have worked with having the ASICS on. So I went for a different jersey. But anyway, let's get into it. Look, we'll get into Rogues in a sec, but just some of the quick things off the top. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but 5 summer Paralympics, 2
Correct. Yep.
Paralympic medals, and
2 Paralympic medals.
We'll talk about the last one, which was close, and 7 world champ medals. That's a pretty good resume you got going on there.
Yeah, geez, you make me feel a bit old, Scotty, but that elusive.
I'll make you feel. I've got a good question in a sec. I'll make you feel older.
That elusive Paralympic gold, is still not in my kit bag, but with a bronze in 2016, a silver in 2021, so 2024. So hopefully LA 2028 is that gold.
Yep, beautiful. I can't wait to look into that a bit more. But before we go any further, it is Shoes and Brews. So what beer are we all on tonight?
I'm keeping it straight and narrow. I've got 1 month to go to the challenge. I'm on a Tinny's, basically a 0. So you guys can bring it home with something more exciting than that.
Cheers, boys. Like you, Scotty, I'm a big fan of the Banter and have been a big fan of them for a long time, but they're just going down so well at the moment. So I'm on the Banter.
Unreal. I thought I'd do something different this week, but I've got the goat. It's an easy drinking beer. I do love the Banter though, so I should be down in Canberra in about a month and we'll get stuck into those.
We'll have to have a full pack or something together.
Yeah, perfect. So where do we go? So with sports wrap, we've probably gone through a few of the sports that have happened. The big one that happened last week and is the World Champs. So what was the highlight for the World Champs for you guys?
You go first, Rogue. Kick us off, mate.
Thanks, Ash. I'm a bit biased. I love the distance events and Kyle Robinson in the men's 5,000. That was unbelievable performance from him to become 4th in the world in a championship in that 5K was pretty impressive. So big tick for Kyle Robinson in the men's 5,000 meters.
Yeah, that was an elite run there. For me, plenty of late nights watching lots of athletics. The marathon finish, just the fact that it came down to the bob of the body, was after a few came into the stadium together. I just find it so insane that after that level, that distance, that heat, like running at 30 degree temperatures for that long at that level, that the bob of a body can separate 2 people. So definitely that, and then probably the pole vault world record going again was right up there as well. How about
Isn't that the last thing you want to do is, after 42 Ks, enter the stadium with 3 other blokes and go, we're going to have to sprint this out?
Yeah, it's got to be up there.
I can only imagine the noise in the stadium when that many coming together. But the last few, Olympics, Paralympics, has the marathon finished in the stadium? I know they went away from it for a little while.
Yeah, I did the marathon in 2021 in Tokyo, and we finished in the stadium there. Can't remember what happened in Paris, but yeah, I do like it when they start and finish in the stadium. I quite like that because it gives the guys on the roads like a a perspective of the stadium, and that's like, when you think of the Olympics and Paralympics, you think of the athletics track. So it's great for the marathoners.
Yeah, because look, I know I think London finished out on the road, and it's an iconic finish. I get that, but mate, if I'm going to the Olympics and I'm running a marathon, I want to run into that stadium. Now,
I agree.
3 or your 50th, mate. I just think that's Olympic marathon for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And just before those, a shout out though. One event that I wouldn't have wanted to do though was the 4x400 on the last day when it was absolutely sideways rain. And so Rose, you obviously can run at an elite pace, but not only are they running around in sideways rain and water everywhere on the track, but also like getting the baton around is one thing, and then just at the speed they are, I don't know how
It's chaos, wasn't it? It was chaos for the big boys in the discus circle as well, wasn't it, on that same night?
Oh, mate, I was watching that, and the Australian just went down.
Yeah,
you can't spit. It's like ice anyway.
Yeah, and they're trying to do the full 360 and then throw and.
Mate,
yeah.
I think I went to bed shortly after that, but they probably suspended that for a little while. You can't throw discus in that.
You set it up there before, Scotty, but tell us how do you think you can make rogues older? Like how do you what's the background there?
Okay, so you're locked in for 28.
Yep, I'm locked in. I've committed. Yep, and I still think there's a bit more left in this book, and it's going to be a good chapter. 2028.
No, which is unreal. Look at the distance. The older you get, or to a certain point, the older you get, the more I think. Yeah, but not only endurance, but I think mentally it's a tough, especially the marathon. But look, Paralympics from 28 is only 1,500 in your event. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct, Scotty. So yeah, it's out of my hands. If I want to go to the Paralympics in 2028, it's 1,500. So that's where it is, and I've got to be happy with that. And I think I've still got a little bit left in the 1,500 to achieve.
Yeah, that's unreal. But looking a bit further ahead, so this is where I'm going to make you feel old. So Brisbane 32.
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring this up.
Now, if my calculations are correct, you're going to be 44 years old.
Am I? Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Now, home games would just be and I dare say, look, if you go to 32, that would be your last. Maybe not, but
it's funny because we always work on these 4 years. We always work on these 4-year cycles in, I guess, Paralympics, Olympics, and I was sitting here now, and you think, geez, 2028 is only what? Yeah, 2 years, 2 and a bit years away. The cycles go so quick, and just on that home games, I remember, watching all the Olympics and all the Paralympics for Sydney 2000, and it was, I was only a young fella then, 12 years old, and to represent your country at the highest level, but then again to do it in the home games, that would just be something special. So, yeah, for all the kids and listeners,
I've got goosebumps just thinking about you being at Brisbane with your family and friends, and mate, give me goosebumps though.
It would be something unreal, Scotty. But if I'm not there as an athlete, I'll definitely be there as a spectator and watching Australia and the rest of the world compete, because it's going to be special. So it's a great runway what we've got coming up.
Yeah, mate. So as a 12-year-old going to Sydney, did you go and watch much of the games in Sydney?
I didn't actually go to the games, but I remember I was at home. I lived about an hour southeast of Adelaide, a place called Langhorne Creek, and thankfully I had a TV in my room, so I was watching sport, watching the Olympics and the Paralympics, all night and all morning, and it was all talk at school, and it was fantastic. And I remember just after those games, a fellow by the name of Neil Fuller came to my school and sort of talked to me about Paralympic sport, and that's where something just ignited in my head, thinking one day that could be me, and it could happen.
And so at that age, were you already fast anyway? Like 12, you're starting to get an idea that, hey, I'm a bloody quick runner here.
Yeah, I was, and I was really good in my school. But my first love was AFL, and I remember when on the farm, I was taking hangers on a hay bale, thinking I'm Tony Modra and kicking like Andrew McLeod, and I just wanted to play AFL, and I love team sports. So running didn't really start until sort of the end of, like, I always did it because I love running, and I was always good at it off not much training, but started to take it seriously at the end of high school. Got a coach, and went down that path at the end of high school once I finished up team sports, I guess.
Yep, mate, unreal.
You guys, you guys are talking like you've known each other a whole lifetime. Scotty, have you bumped into Rose from years ago?
Yes, I did, mate. funny story. So you probably can't remember, but look, I've been at athlete's foot for 32 years, and that's what got me into. One of my mates a few years ago goes, why don't you do shoes, like review a shoe and a beer? And so, yeah, I love my beer. I love shoes. I've been working with shoes pretty much all my life. And anyway, but off track, I met you in the Athlete's Foot Belconnen store. And I'm going to say it was 15 or so years ago. Yeah, but we used to have this machine, I think it was called Fitprint at the time, where it calculated your balance. And one of our young girls was serving you, and your balance came up 55, 45, so a little bit lopsided.
A little bit heavier to the left, yep.
Yeah. And she's just going, are you left or right-handed? Mate, I'm in the background laughing, and you've just waved your wing at her.
Yeah,
fuck, I lost it. It was one of the funniest things, and you took it like an absolute champ.
Yeah, I guess for the listeners, I was born without the lower half of my right arm, so I know no different. But she would have just said that, and I've brushed it off. But it's quite funny. I wish I did remember that one actually.
She was very embarrassed, but what it led to was we didn't high five each other in our Belconnen store for a good 5 years, I reckon. We just started elbowing,
doing the wing,
yeah. And
does she still work with you, Scotty? You might have to go see her.
Oh God, I can't even think of who it was, to be honest. But over 32 years, you have a lot of staff. Some you remember, some you just like can't really.
I'm glad I was a memorable customer in your store.
Yeah. So when Ash said, we're going to get Rogues on, it's like, oh fuck, how good's this?
Tell him his stories,
yeah. But so even in COVID, everyone started elbowing.
Yeah, the old elbow. Yep.
Yeah. So people are going, COVID. I was like, no, I've been doing this for 15 years, 10 years, but funny. So, go. Sorry, Ash.
No, Scotty, I was just going to say. So then, like, I know that we got in touch obviously for through your shoes and Brews content, but maybe for people that don't know you as well, just want to give us a bit more about we've got the Athlete's Foot story, but just like how and why you got into it, what made you fire up and start recording some short content and putting it out there for people.
Yeah, the short content was I started just Mark Dunlop, who actually will be our next guest, and he's got a very interesting story as well. But he just said, mate, you love beer, you love shoes, and we didn't know the name, and then I just said, oh fuck, we'll call it Shoes and Brews. And so I just started doing this 1 minute, 2 minute video and sending it to the boys on WhatsApp every week. Like just
classic.
And then I think I might have to go back into some of the old ones, and I've saved all the content, but from episode 23, I think it's all on Instagram. So there's been some funny ones, but that's how I started, and just my love of shoes, and then obviously met you, and this is something that we get to interview. So we're gonna, you're our first guest, Rogues, and we're going to interview some different people and different stories. So yeah, you'll always be the first.
Yeah, exactly. You always remember the first two, don't you? Like...
Yeah, well, I'll remember them for our technical difficulties. I'll give you the tip.
Yeah. But no, kudos to you guys, because I love both subjects, shoes and brews. So I'm looking forward to following along on the journey.
Yeah, it's too funny. But Ash, you've got just change of topic, but you are, because I want to dig into it a little bit, but you are a Movember ambassador, which is I've never heard of what an ambassador does, and it's a fair bit of weight on the shoulders and expectations, I suppose. What's it all about?
Yeah. So in addition to loving shoes and brews, like both of you lads, so like men's health and well-being, sorry, I should say, is just a really important topic for me. So I've done Movember for a long time, but really dialed it up in the last sort of like 8 to 10 years. I did a stint at the AFL where, in a really male-orientated industry, there's obviously lots of similar stories, but also lots of people willing to share. And so we sort of had this interesting point in time where it became a bit cooler, a bit more normalized to talk about men's health. And so I just feel like I'm a good connector and advocate for the work being done in that space. So last year November gave me the a Guernsey to be one of their ambassadors, which it just sounds like a cool name, but it basically just sounds like joining it's like joining the coolest cult going around, where just people who are like-minded from all different walks of life come together to promote, celebrate the work that Movember does. But their motto is having fun, doing good. And I think just the balance of that is you can have, often it starts as lighthearted connections, even something like this, and we can get into it. And typically as blokes, we start on the surface and then it takes us a while to get a bit deeper. So, it's a role that I love, do lots of work in. We'll talk about it definitely in November, with the big challenge coming up in that month. We're happy to unpack it over the next couple of over the next couple of episodes and whatever. But title that I really love, a conversation that I'm always up for. So even getting 3 blokes on a call like this is progress, right? Like this wouldn't have happened many years ago. So
I suppose the COVID times has really fast tracked a lot of this sort of stuff, hasn't it? Because everyone had to find ways to, But no, it's pretty cool to sit here, have a beer, talk shit, talk about some shoes.
It's great. And I think just quickly, I've seen a bit of your work done, obviously at the Sports Commission, Ash, and you're moving, you're getting conversations happening, and you've got a lot of people involved, and it's a great cause, and you're raising money and awareness. So well done, mate.
Thank you, Ash. We can shift this back there and talk about our special first guest. We've I think you've tuned into episode 1, so thanks for really being here from the start. We're going to have a classic couple of questions for everyone, but it would be rude before we did that, like even just talking on the back of ambassadorship. You touched on it a little bit, but so talk us through. ASICS have signed you on for 4 years. Is that the deal? Yeah.
Yep. I've been very fortunate enough to sign with ASICS for 4 years just recently, after being with another brand, and the first couple of months has been awesome. They've sort of made me feel welcome. They've taken me to a shoe launch, and their shoes have just been out of this world. And I'm really enjoying getting to know the shoes and what works for me. And I think I've had a really good season actually in the ASICS racing shoes. So, and I'm looking forward to the next little bit with ASICS.
Yeah, cool. Well, we are going to break down the Sonicblast in a sec.
But you've come into ASICS. You've come into ASICS at a really good time. Because if I go back 4 or 5 years ago, they had some good solid shoes, but they probably didn't have a lot of shoes for actual proper runners. And we'll get into it, but the Blast series and the Metaspeed, Metasky, Edge has just changed it for them, and they needed to.
They did, and you're right, Scott. It probably was about 5 years ago. They were sort of slipping away in the sort of elite running, and even the general punter who wants to run a good marathon. And you see them today, and you look at what people are wearing, and what are they wearing? They're wearing ASICS, so it's exciting, and you're right. It's a great time for me to join the family.
Yep, very good. Before we get into the questions, Ash, we're talking last week about the medals that you've won, and I think you wanted to ask him about that race from last year.
Yeah, for
So I'll
sure.
let you take over, but
yeah. I think everyone can probably remember we talked about, certain sporting events that you can remember watching. So for me, having known of Rogues and now knowing Rogues for a couple of years through work, I was well and truly tuned in last year when you ran your 1500 final, albeit with a different look on the start line that we were like, oh, where's Rogues? Yep, cool, there he is. If you go back, a bit over a year now to like the race, the experience, and then like how does that race sit with you just in the scheme of what you've achieved in your career today? How does it sit with you?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I often do find myself thinking about Paris and the race and how I feel about it and what I could have done differently and what I did right. I did win a silver medal at the Paralympic Games, but I wanted that gold. The dream since I was a kid was to stand on top of the podium and see the flag get raised and listen to the national anthem. That's what I wanted, but I fell short. I think for the listeners out there, I was leading for 1,460 meters of that 1,500 meter race, and the Russian athlete come past me in that last 40 meters, and I think, wow, did I win the silver or did I lose the gold? But those thoughts come in my head, and I quickly got to brush them aside because I know I gave it 110%. I put everything into that race, and I won the silver. So I'm very proud of that silver medal. I'm not going to lie. I do think about that gold and think, what if?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, it's amazing perspective to talk about winning the silver versus missing or not having the gold. Like, there's millions of people that would aspire to be half of what you've achieved and to be up there. So, mate, like, we're bloody proud of you. But also, like, I think for me, the thing that stands out is the way you did it. Like, the way you ran that race, like, there was nothing short of all in, right? To the point I nearly needed to go to JB and buy a new telly the day after. But, that's what
we as Aussies. Or just throw shit at it?
Oh man, I was standing up. I was ready to throw everything. It was all on. My little fella was there. He was screaming. So, but like that, as we talked about iconic Aussie events. So I can vividly remember like watching you go all in, and that's what we want to see from our athletes. So it's powerful in itself, mate.
Yeah, thanks. And I think what I am like one of the most things I'm proud of is I knew I had a job to do and I knew how to do it. Philo Saunders, my coach, and we talked about the tactics, and I didn't want to go. My tactics isn't sitting in and being a kicker's race, the last quick lap, because that's not my strength. So some of these younger fellas are quicker than me at top speed, but I know my strength, and that's just to make it bloody hard. And it's sort of like, I think a lot of people sort of resonated just with that Aussie spirit. I sort of put it out there and just ran my ass off, and didn't Aussie, think what if or like. Yeah, so that's what I was probably most proud of.
Our Aussie pre.
Yeah, that's it. And we had a plan. I executed the plan, and that just someone was better on the day.
It's 50th years, isn't it, since Prefontaine?
I think so. Yeah,
he was.
So
I'm going
to call you the Aussie pre.
Yeah. I'll get a moustache, should I? Or...
Yeah. Well, mate, good. Talk about the moustache, but mate, some of your haircuts. You've had.
We're going to go down that hole, are we?
Yeah. Mate, look, I've mucked around with hair before, and but you've had the flowing locks, you've had braids, a ponytail, the bleach.
Yeah.
Mate, you're looking quite sharp at the moment, but let's talk
I've got a wedding in a couple of weeks, so yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, congrats.
Yeah. But that story behind that Paris one is so I've never had long hair in my life. COVID hit, started to grow my hair, and it's sort of after a time you sort of just get used to your long hair. And anyway, I kept it right up until Paris. We're on a training camp in Switzerland. I was like to some of the boys, I'm like, I might cut this. I might actually cut it. And they didn't believe me, because I've had it for so long. And 3 days before the race, I'm like, I'm heading out to the village. I'm going to go cut it. And I was like, maybe I'll do a bit of a Slim Shady and cut it short, then put a bit of peroxide through it and platinum blonde. Yep, got it cut off and platinum blonde. And when I was getting it done, though, the bleach actually burnt the back of my head. And I walked out and there's all these like red spots on the back of my head. So I was a bit worried, I did a race in a few days. I didn't want that to, I wanted to look sharp. But that was a story, and had a beanie and a hat on for the next 3 days, and flicked it off with the lights, the camera, the action, and yeah, a lot of people didn't recognise me, but it was pretty funny.
So that's before the race. Talk us through the celebrations. Did you take the silver medal on tour? What were the post race treats after you get the silver medal? So if I could talk there, yeah, after you get the silver, yeah.
I tell you what, the silver medal was the best currency in France the next few days. You know, free champagnes, free coffees, and photos, and it was quite surreal actually, because you know, us guys don't always get recognised. But I don't know if it was the blonde hair or the silver medal, but I was walking down streets and people winding their windows down and saying, you know, great job, Ozzy, great job, and yeah, it was it was a cool few days, and nearly ended up at Moulin Rouge show, and was out eating snails and champagne and all this nice French cuisine. So it was a beautiful time.
Unreal, man. How good.
Are they still running shows at Moulin Rouge? Is that...
They are, yeah, they are definitely.
Yeah, you went in.
I didn't have time, so yeah, it was a busy time. Like some of the other fellas did.
Too much
so you wear the medal everywhere. How many people, or how many athletes?
This isn't set up either, boys. The medals. I've actually got the medal right next to me.
Here we go. Look at
that. How heavy is it?
It's heavy.
Like
it's heavy.
Weighty.
Yeah, it's very heavy. So the gold's a little bit heavy and the bronze is a little bit lighter. So I'm right in the middle.
Yeah. How many athletes take their medals out? They get on the drink, and lose a medal.
Yeah, I've heard stories of that, and that's probably scared me. That's probably why I haven't taken it out the night after a race. But the next day I definitely had it out. That's for sure. But like I said, if you had it out and you're walking down the street or you're showing someone, it was like seagulls in France. It was people just flocked you, and I enjoyed that though. I didn't hold back. I just wanted everyone to see it, and I just took photos. Everyone tried to talk to as many people as I can, because you never know if that opportunity is going to come again. So it was pretty special.
Well, the other thing too, and you'd mentioned it back, just after the 2000 Olympics, is that you had someone, I can't remember the name, so came down to your school, and talked to you, and that's what sparked you.
Exactly.
Go, hey, I can do this. So you never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to give that same.
100%, Scotty. I try and talk to the kids, show the kids the medal, and if one kid in Brisbane 2032 is going to represent the country, and I was part of that, well, my job's done, really.
That's unreal. And then to hear them go, oh, I remember Rogues, and that's why I think you got to give back, because a lot of people have helped me along the way, and a lot of people inspired me and believed in me. So, part of me is like never forget where you grew up and never forget who helped you. So I try and do that as much as I can. Sounds like my motto is just don't be a shit bloke. That's
yep. No, that's a pretty good motto to live by.
And,
you live by that, and you should be all right, shouldn't you? Really.
It's a nice little segue though. So we're going to go rapid fire. Well, as rapid fire as you want to take us here, Rogue. So these are the sort of standardish questions we want to ask everyone. But so you've covered a little bit there around like the influence you can have on other people. But who's had the most influence on your running career?
Yeah, that's changed, and I think when I was younger, and I still do, my dad inspired me, and I looked up to. He wasn't a runner at all, but he's just work ethic. That was a big one. A few of my early footy coaches, but the biggest influence in my career has to be my coach, Philo Saunders, what he's done for me, how much he believes in me. If he told me to run through a brick wall and that'd make me better, I'd do it. He took me under his wing after 2012 Paralympics, so I've been with him for a long time now, and he took me from a good athlete to a really good athlete. What we've achieved together, the world records we've broke, the medals we won I never thought I would be half the athlete really that I am. Like, I knew I was okay, but he's done wonders for my career, and so Philo Saunders definitely. And Philo's still 48 and he's still leading reps for us, which is pretty inspiring in itself.
Yeah, do as I do stuff. But he's a full-time coach now for AA, is that right?
Yep. So Philo when I first met Philo, he was a sports scientist, a physiologist at the Australian Institute of Sport, and now he's full-time coach with Australian Athletics.
Yeah, that's cool.
He'd actually be a good one. He'd actually be a good one to have on this pod one day because he loves his brews and he loves his shoes. So yeah,
we'll lock him in. Done. Yeah, name's on the list. Come on, Dad.
And I'll talk off air on what sponsor he's with.
yeah.
If he is with one, to make sure.
Oh, yeah. So then a bit more lighthearted. So feel free to again take us wherever you want here. We know you've listened to the first episode, so we can get a poo story out of you because everyone's got a poo story or someone else's poo story. So tell us that one maybe, but also just a funny running story if you've got one.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with my bows. Well, I've only been caught short probably once or twice, and one of them was out in Stromlo. But I'm going to put a training partner under the bus. I won't say his name, but we do a bit of training in altitude.
Can I guess? Am I allowed to guess?
No.
Okay.
We'll have to beep his name out, maybe. Anyway, we're up in Flagstaff in Arizona. It's about 2,200 meters above sea level, so the training's hard. It's Sunday morning. We're off for a long run around 28k, and there's sort of a group we start. It's an out and back run. It's a group we started together, and this young lad fell off the pack, and he was in a bit of trouble. So he obviously went to the bush, and then we're running back on the way back, and we see this fella in the bush, and he hasn't got any clothes on. He's just got shoes, and this guy he didn't want to get, and we're on his splitties, no top because it was a hot day. So he's taken his splitties off, taken his jocks off, and he's put them to the side, and he's sort of lost them, and he's trying to find them. So he's walking around the bush, taking his dump with no clothes on. We thought it was the funniest thing ever. We're like, what have you been doing, mate? Anyway, yeah, that's one of the stories.
Dare I ask, Bruce, was he vision impaired?
He could have been vision impaired, and that's probably the kicker. How he couldn't find his shorts. So I can't remember. If one of us went and helped him find them or he found them. But
help you find them or just fucking stuck them in your pocket.
And the other thing is because we're at altitude, we're probably a fast long run. He's probably he was cooked, so he's just not in the right headspace. But that's quite funny. We thought. There's other ones where we're sort of, we park and there's a portaloo there. And I remember one time someone went in the toilets and I got in the car and I, drive the car right up to the door of the portaloo. And like banging it, they're stuck and they can't get out. There's all a bit of carry on in these training camps.
Good. Well, I suppose the training camps you go for. What do you go for, a week or a couple of weeks?
Yeah, longer, Scotty. When we're overseas, like we're 46 weeks for an altitude camp, so you got to make it a lot harder and just find little things to stir each other up.
So because obviously the amount of running you can do is only even if it's 3 hours a day, you're going to have all the recovery and stuff like that. But mate, there's a lot of time to stir the shit out of each other.
Yeah, lots of coffees, lots of stirring each other up, and lots of good times and lighthearted gags, I think.
Yep. So, is there many people that go on these camps? And I have, no shit bloke ever gets invited back. Mate, this is your one and only trip here.
When the camps get bigger and bigger, then sometimes other people hear about them, and one trip, one bloke did get sent home halfway through because he wasn't following the guidelines of being not a shit bloke. So but most of the time it's all pretty good, and people get along, and it's quite good because there's lots of different houses we can get, and it's nice to bring the Aussie flair overseas wherever we go.
And, so now, look, how long have you been? So you're getting married, but how long have you been with your current partner?
2 weeks. No. We've been together.
He's going with the Elvis Presley wedding in Vegas.
Yeah, we've been together for since. Geez, you don't ask these questions. You're questioning me now. No, since 2020, since January 2022, and she's the best thing that's ever happened. Okay, hence why I got to marry her.
Mate. Yeah, unreal. So, have you done many training camps while you've been with her?
Yes. Yep. I have. Yep. She's and she's been very, I guess, she's very supportive, and now we've got a little 5-month-old bub, so it's getting harder and harder, but she's been very supportive, and She came to Paris, which I've never had a family member at any Paralympic Games. So Lauren was in the stands, as well as my twin brother and his family. That was unreal. But Lauren's his jam.
Yep. Sorry, I just got off track there, Ash. I'll do that.
No. All good. I love it. We're here to get to know Roeger. So we touched on footy a little bit off the top. I'm sensing there's an AFL team that might be from the southern states, but who do you barrack for across different codes and whatever? Who's your footy teams?
Yeah, coming from South Australia, I'm big into my AFL. So Adelaide Crows, we had a tough season, as you guys probably know. Yep. Finish top, get 2 home finals, and then you bomb out in straight sets. So that wasn't good. In the league, I'm gonna say I'd never used to follow anyone, but one of my coaches was from Brisbane, and he taught me sort of the leaguey sort of game. So I like Brisbane, but no. So coming to Canberra, I do like the Raiders.
Oh, good boy.
Both teams out in straight sets.
Yeah, I know. Not a good year.
And
we were predicted to win the Spoon. So look, the fact that we went into finals, won a minor premiership, mate, I'm happy.
That's a bit like the Crows. It's a bit like the Crows, Scotty. We finished well down the list last year. So if you being a little bit realistic, they had a good season.
Yeah,
it sounds like the last fortnight's been good for some healing then. Back running related, and so like when you're out just doing your moderate, 18 Ks or 32 Ks at moderate Rogues pace, which is just flying, by the way. Is there like a special treat meal or like a pub feed or something at the end that you're thinking about?
This year, my go-to meal pre-race, every race this winter, especially, I've gone for a pizza. And some people might think that's weird, but pizza's worked for me. I've had a really good season on the roads, and pizza's been my pre-race. But I guess getting into a big coming up to World Championships or Paralympic Games, I get off the terps. I eat pretty strict, and I probably hadn't had a palmy for 4 months leading to a game. So I always sort of think about a Parmigiana and chips and a bit of I always get a palmy with mushy sauce on the side. Like I like to dip the chips in, so that's one of my faves.
It's gravy for me, and just pour it all over the top. Oh,
really, yeah.
Say less, yeah.
I tell you what, one of my friends in Adelaide, if he can get it, he gets a palmy with like Kilpatrick sauce. So,
yeah, right.
Like that oyster sauce. Yeah, it's interesting.
That might be an Adelaide
It's
thing.
very different.
It might be. We're a bit different down there.
No, and so yeah, and then on the same vein as food, what's your favorite drink and why is it beer? And maybe other than Bolter, is there another beer that is your favorite? Maybe Cooper's or something.
I love beer. And listening to your podcast last week, Scotty, I do have a pool in the backyard, so I love sitting in the pool having a cold one. But I think just having a beer with a mate, there's not much better than that really, because it does open up conversation. It's lighthearted and there's something nice about it. I think it's the Australian way. So yeah, I don't mind a Kosciuszko Pale Ale actually. So coming from Canberra.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
Nice.
Very good.
There's been a few breweries open since I left Canberra.
Lots
of breweries now. Yep.
There's Capital and Ben Spoke. Yep. Oh, the bridge. Get way off track again. The Ben Spoke, when they originally come out with a really wide opening.
Yeah, that was awesome, hey? That wide.
They were unreal.
Yeah, they don't do them anymore.
Yeah,
not so good for roadies.
No. All taking it slow because you just get this big gushing mouthful of beer. It tastes delicious.
I won't say a bad word about Ben Spoke. I'm very fond of their drop. So anyway, only 39 days or something. Hey, thanks for entertaining us, Rogues. I think you mentioned to us that you had a story about training on a rooftop or somewhere crazy that you wanted to tell us, or something, a story that was a bit out there.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of stories, but this one really sticks in my mind because it was before the 2016 Rio Paralympics. Velo Saunders and my coach had a race in New York, and then sort of the next day we had to fly out to the village, and so all good. Race was a mile on Long Island, so it was pretty cool. We had to fly from New York to Miami. Then we're flying out of Miami to Brazil, and we missed our bloody flight from Miami, right? And this is, you're a bit more tense than usual because you're coming into the biggest race of your life. And we got to Miami Airport. We missed the flight, overnight flight, and I was, getting edgy because I need to train as well the next day. We had a session, or that day, and we checked, and we didn't have any luggage either. But Philo always carries a spare pair of shoes in his carry-on, so I had to borrow Philo's shoes. He had a pair of shoes on, and we're doing a session up on the rooftop car park of Miami Airport. So it was a 400 or 500 meter loop, cars everywhere, and these two Aussies. We did it like a 16K session, 17K session. And I remember the session. I think it was 5 by 5 minutes with 90 seconds recovery around this airport car park on the top. It was bizarre. It was bizarre times, and I didn't even have I had Philo's clothes on, his shoes, and but as an athlete, I probably felt better in my head not doing that session than sitting in the hotel room and missing it. Before the biggest race of my life. So that was probably one of the more bizarre sessions in places I've done a run.
Oh man, that's up there. That's going to be tough to beat, I reckon. Yeah, very good.
Where have you done your sessions?
That's I probably could get up on Strava as well. Yeah, the car park on the top of Miami Airport. So yeah.
I might put
just
a link
pictures
to
these
it.
two Aussie blokes running around. Scotty, do you want to take us through? Do you want to lead us off and give us some of the specs on the Sonicblast, and we can pick Roeger's brain?
Yeah, for sure. Before I do it, you've got you have a world record, a current world record, in the marathon.
Yep.
And look, is it a 3:44 1500?
Yep, that's it. 3:44.
3:44 something. Marathon 2:18. Look. Of all you've broken multiple world records, but of all of them, which one is your one? You just go, that is the race that I just was unreal, and the time you feel like it's going to be hard to be beaten.
I can definitely tell you which world record was the best, and that was definitely the first one. I've even got it tattooed on me where I did it. So, I was chasing that 1500 meter world record for a long time with Philo, and I was close a lot of times, and it was held by one of my fellow competitors, Abraham Tabe from Kenya, and it was in Boston, in Massachusetts, in America, and everything just clicked that day, and broke my first world record. And I remember crossing that finish line and seeing the time, and if you could bottle that feeling that I had and sell it, it'd be worth millions of dollars, because it was something.
Mate,
something
I got those
special.
goosebumps again.
Yeah, so definitely the first one, Scotty, was the best, and I don't think nothing will ever beat that feeling until I win that gold medal. So the first one, the 1500, and I went on to break that again several times, and as always,
I saw you just bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. But the first world record, I think, was the most special and memorable race.
Mate, unreal. All right, so let's get into the show. Sounds like my weekly podcast. Look at that. I've just even put it up on the screen there. I need my glasses on. I can't really see it. So this is the shoe this month is the Sonicblast. The reason Rogues can get on board for your sponsorship with ASICS. Mate, perfect segue, hey. So we've got Flight Foam Turbo top layer. So it's actually two different layers here. Then you've got a plate. It's a P-Bax plate through the bottom. Flight Foam Blast Max bottom layer. But really, I couldn't believe how snappy it was just for a P-Bax plate. Usually you'd probably find that in some of the carbon. It's a 8mm heel to toe drop. So pretty standard amongst most of these types of shoes. And you're looking at the stack as 40, what have we got? 46mm heel to toe, like in the heel, sorry. So it's quite a high one. And if you want to ratify world record, you cannot do it in this shoe. So the race shoes are under 40mm. At 240 grams, it's not the lightest, but it's a tempo speed shoe. And probably it goes up against shoes like the Saucony and Dolphin Speed, which have probably owned this market, and I think this is a really cool addition to that speed sort of market, and something that probably hasn't really been done by ASICS. Probably Magic Speed was probably the closest, but there, mate, there it is. But let's tell us all about your runs in it.
Oh yeah, I'll go first. I think I've nearly done 200 k's in mine, and they're still pretty good, Nick. But it for me, it felt better as I went along, to be honest. So after about 30k, I felt like that plate sort of softened up. It's very snappy, lots of heel cushioning, which feels nice, and it just makes you want to run fast, this shoe. So I think, without being a carbon plate shoe, I think it can fit as a daily trainer, which is handy if you want a plated shoe but not a carbon shoe. So for me, it's a really nice shoe, and I think it works best on the roads when you want to run a little bit faster.
Yep. So you've mainly done sessions in it, or a bit of everything?
I've done a few fartlek sessions in it, but I like to feel snappy and fast when I do most of my runs. So I can see it as a daily trainer and a session shoe. If you didn't want to put those fast carbon shoes on, but you still want to have a session, I reckon this is the shoe to go to.
Yep. So probably for athletes like yourself, and if Philo ever wants you to run through a brick wall, mate, I've seen the size of you. Probably not a good idea, right?
You think I'm trying to second best?
Yeah. So I've probably got more chance of running through a brick wall. But for the athlete, I think certainly it's a shoe they can wear a lot. But for some of the casual punters, which you might run a Nova Blast or Super Blast as your everyday shoe, and then this one's more of your speed and tempo sessions. So that's how that differentiates in the ASICS range. But when you are a lightweight and you can get away with it, right, you can definitely use it for more.
And I think the upper feels really nice too. That sort of soft upper feels great too.
Yeah.
I definitely can't run as fast as Rose, and I'm not as light as Rose, but share a lot of the same sentiment. Like the first time I put mine on were not long after Sydney Mara, and they just made you want to run fast. I felt like after you run about 7 to 10 k's in them, like the first, not just on the first run, but any run, you really feel this pick up in the back half of the run. So I did a few laps on them. I probably wore them 2 or 3 times a week for different sessions. I had a crack on the treadie on them and did some pieces, and you definitely want to go fast in them. Faster than my usual faster than my usual slow, but I definitely think a good tempo shoe.
Did you break it up, AD?
I knew this was going to be in the question, so I actually had to check my Strava on the last one. I reckon I must have changed my email address on Strava, by the way. Anyway, no is the short answer. I had a good crack, and I've done a few longer runs at good pace in them, but
But off the back of a marathon, it's tough to get going again, mate. I'm lucky to. My last marathon, I reckon it was 3 to 4 weeks before I even felt like doing any sort of speed. So anyway,
when you get a fresh pair of shoes in, then you just want to go for a run straight away. It doesn't matter how close the marathon was.
What I've noticed with ASICS, all their shoes look great too, which is a big thing, isn't it? Like they just look fresh, they look fast, which is exciting, and they've got great colorways. So
it's funny because I gave you both the option of whether with a white or the other color. We've all gone the same color, so I think they've just nailed this color. The other one was yellow, but anyway, this color is unreal. Part of their Tokyo pack. Pretty much throughout their range, they'll have it's hard to probably see. You can probably see on the image if I put it back up, is that it's got that sort of red or reddish pink with a bit of purple, but that's through their whole range, and there's some pretty cool stuff, pretty cool color pack.
Yeah, and Rose, you were at the launch for that Tokyo pack.
Yeah, I went to the launch the other week for the Mega Blast and the Sonic Blast in Melbourne, and we got to try on all the shoes and get all the gear, and then we did a bit of a relay, and there was food and food vans and coffee vans. It was a great event, and I think there's probably 100 people there for the event, and everyone was saying the same thing about the Sonic Blast and the Mega Blast. So it's an exciting new shoe.
So what? You probably don't know, but why Melbourne? Because I know they're out at Marsden Park and they've got the biggest warehouse and office you've ever seen.
Oh, I need to get there. Yeah.
Mate,
I don't know.
Seriously, get down there.
Yeah, maybe because I know there's a lot of logistics behind events like that. So they had Lakeside Stadium track for the evening, and they had lights around the whole track and DJs. It was a great event. But yeah.
Is that at Albert Park? At that track at Albert Park?
Yeah. Yep. That running track there.
Yep. No, that would have been unreal.
Yep. It was unreal.
Sorry, Rose, I was just going to ask, what else are you liking in the ASICS range then? Since you've recently signed, what else are your favourites?
It's funny. I hadn't tried an ASICS shoe on for a long time. I think it might have been one of my first shoes I got when I was a young fella, and I didn't really know which shoe to cut. And I obviously trialed them before I signed, just to make sure it was all good. And I asked another ASICS athlete, "What shoe should I wear? What do you wear? What's the deal these days?" And he said, "Rogues, just pick anything from the Blast family." So for the listeners out there, that's a great tip, because I'm liking the Blast family, and we've got a new one here with the Sonic Blast.
Yeah,
it's hard to go wrong with the Blast ones at the moment. They're just
isn't it? I think you see them everywhere.
They're killing it.
Yeah. And I think it's that foam, isn't it, Scotty? Like it's light, but it's durable, and it feels very nice underfoot.
Yeah. Look, I loved it. Look, it did feel a bit faster. My first run, I just tied them up a bit too tight, and that sort of grabbed my Achilles. But that was more on me than the shoe. But if you're saying you've got to get to 30K before they start to feel good, well, I've got a few more Ks to get before I get there.
They're only getting better then, mate. They're only getting better.
Okay, so a couple more runs and they'll be perfect. Oh, funny. So any more on the shoe, boys?
No, it gets a tick from me, and I think it's got a place in the shoe collection. It's a fast trainer that it can blend in with an everyday shoe, but also use it for a race day shoe as well if you don't want to go down that sky.
Yep. Certainly for the I call it a punter. Which look, I'm a punter runner, but I get access to a lot of shoes, so I'm just going carbon. But if you want a shoe that can do multiple things, I think it's a great one for that, and where they don't have to buy 4 or 5 different shoes.
Yeah, so I agree with that.
Get away with a bit of everything. So, all right. Well, let's move on. I think pretty much coming to the end, but next month we are going to be doing the Hoka Arahi 8. Launched in. They kept pushing it back. It was July, then August, so late August. So we're going to be doing that one. Special guest is going to be Mark Dunlop, who's got a cool story as well. He's the reason I started Shoes and Brews, but he was my inspirational person from the Potty One. And just a quick tidbit, but he had a stroke about 3 years ago. I've got to get the bloody dates right. Three years ago, and then 12 months later, he beat his marathon time of sub 3 hours. So. Bloody awesome story. So we'll get him on. And the first thing he say is he's won the Central Coast Beer Mile Championships twice. So that's the first thing he'll say.
Perfect guess.
So and then all the chat at the moment. So I've been invited to be the commentator for the Central Coast Beer Mile. Which is 6th of December. So all the chat at the moment is about what beers they're going to have and trying to find these, because it's got to be 5% 365 mil.
Yeah.
So that's and something you can stomach pretty easily. But as much as Bolter is awesome.
Just a quick one on running and beers. Philo, and you'd like this. Philo in our squad, our Christmas run every year for the last probably 10 years now. Philo's started this Christmas beer run. So we start at his place. You have a beer.
Yeah.
You run 4K, and he maps it all out. So and we got to cover around 25K for the Sunday long run. We start at his place, then you go to Bolt Bar, then you go to Dixon, and there's about 6 or 7 pubs along the way, and you run like 3 or 4K in between, and it gets quite messy by the end, but it's a great day. So it's a tradition now. So that's a really cool one. He's established.
Right, that's unreal.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds dangerous though as well. Just a casual 25 and six pints in between.
You have some stragglers, and then there's not that I condone drink driving, but some people get on their bike and do a little bit, then drop in. But it's a great fun day, and it's always around Christmas time. So
yeah, unreal.
Nice way to relax. Yeah. Anyway, let's wrap this up. I'm going to try a new button here. Oh, look at that. Like and subscribe. So like the Instagram page. Follow us on Apple Podcasts and also Spotify. And we'll see you in a month's time for another one. But Rogues, thank you very much. That was unreal. Some funny stories as well.
Thanks, boys. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Ash, mate, thank you. And thanks both of you for the technical issues. So yeah.
Thank you, Scotty, for your efforts, mate.
Shoes on deck, beer on ice, laced up clean, yeah, the vibe feels nice. Fuck you, Tony, said we wouldn't fly, now we're running this.